So what is the deal with the RAM-2? Should you use this thing? And is it basically just worse than the STALKE? Well, before we do the RAM-2 versus STALKE video, we have to do the RAM-2 and then the STALKE video. So let's do the RAM-2 first. All right, the RAM-2. This is a pretty interesting weapon. It pumps 2 shells and it can shoot 2 shots rapidly. It can have 14 loaded and it reloads 2 at a time. So it's kind of like a really weird pump shotgun, but it can still fire fast over time, and it can fire really fast with 2 shots. It has a base damage of 150, which is 10 higher than the STALKE, and it has some interesting upgrades. So, in the handle, I guess they're calling it, we have the, I feel like this is the stock, but anyways, we have a readiness upgrade, and then we have an either or. You can get recoil decrease or moving while aiming, and then you can get recoil recovery or aiming speed. Personally, I feel like these are a little bit better, but it doesn't really matter. Both are kind of like trade-offs. You know, do you want less recoil and better recoil recovery, or do you want to just be able to aim faster and move while aiming faster? And then we have weight reduction, and then a wear and tear upgrade that does require a blueprint. Now, you can just Google where to find this. I'm sure it's not hard to get. Most blueprints in this game, you just have to know where they're at. Then for this new thing here, we have the laser designator, aiming speed, spread decrease. Spread decreases on shotguns tighten the buckshot and all firing modes. Standing, crouching, aiming down sight, it'll tighten up your buckshot. Always get them. Spread decrease on the tactical foregrip. Also recoil decrease. The choke, spread decrease 20%. Or you can get a recoil decrease and an aiming speed. Now, spread decrease, 20%, bullet range, 20%, just objectively better than recoil decrease and aiming speed, because this changes your buckshot to be way more accurate, and this increases the range, like how much damage at range the weapon will deal. And shotgun's big problem is dealing damage to things that are just a little bit beyond their effective range, and a range of 1.5 on a shotgun is actually pretty good. And then, of course, for the front of the gun here, we have a flash suppressor, recoil decrease, spread decrease. So there's a lot of spread decreases. Now for attachments, you can get a red dot and I believe the hollow, the graphics sight, and that's it. So those are the only attachments. There's no like capacity increase or suppressor or anything else like that. So one of the most interesting things about the RAM is that it has the highest hip-fire accuracy of all the shotguns, including the STALKE, fully upgraded, and it's increased even further with the Ruby exoskeleton. So look at the spread on this thing. Look at the crosshair getting super small. So like at that range, if most of those pellets hit, that's a kill against an exosuit. Now if we get a little bit closer, it's getting like pretty tight. So you can see that like the effective range is obviously a lot farther than an underbarrel hole maker, but if we aim, it's actually the same as crouching. So weirdly, so here's aiming, here's crouching. Let me shoot a few just to kind of. All right, so aiming, crouching, it's the same, it's just a randomized pattern. But one of the things that you can do with this, with every shotgun, is like, let's say you're pushing around something and you're thinking, oh, I'll just like go like that and shoot like that. That's fine. But what if you just like crouched really quick? You can actually micro crouch. So it's kind of hard to tell the difference because these spreads look similar, but this is tighter, and you can see that more of the pellets are actually hitting in the center. But essentially what you want to get in the habit of doing if you want to shoot from the hip is you can like micro crouch. You can actually do this too. If you crouch and jump, you actually have, this is a jump crouch, you actually have more accuracy than if you were moving, standing. So crouching is overpowered. Look at the difference between a crouch jump and standing still. Literally crouching is overpowered. It'll give you a lot of accuracy. And aiming also does the same thing. So like if I'm moving and shooting and aiming, I get these tighter groups. Or if I'm crouching, moving, or if I'm jumping and crouching. So you have 3 ways of getting high accuracy. You never want to be standing and shooting unless you're literally right next to something. Like at this range, that's fine. Like this is more than accurate enough. If most of your pellets are connecting, you're killing something. And especially if you're at like this range. Like if there's like an enemy around a doorway, that's a very accurate thing. So like you can push, you have to kind of get used to the weapon and know when you need to crouch. You can also micro crouch. Like you literally just have to be crouching for like fractions of a second to increase your accuracy. So that was not micro crouch, that was micro crouch, a little bit tighter. Another thing to note is when you switch ammo types, it has to unload everything manually. So switching between like slugs and base ammo can actually be pretty painful to do. You have to unload it. You can kind of skip this, so like if your gun is loaded, like let's say we have like some ammo loaded, and we want to unload, and you're in your inventory, you can right click, unload it, and it will unload everything, and then you can switch ammo. So you don't have to go through that whole process. But what we're gonna do, we're gonna go for body shots with slugs. Just to see. Alright, so 2 body shots with slugs to kill. An exosuit. That's the second one there. Alright, then for base ammo, now headshot with either will kill. And you can like push like this. It can kill at a pretty far range. Oops. Alright, there we go. So it's pretty good in close quarters. I would say just go for headshots with buckshot. I don't think this is really the best gun for slugs. I think the Saiga is a little bit better for slugs. It has a little bit higher range stat, and it also has a faster fire rate, which can be nice. So it kind of almost acts as like a short range assault rifle or sniper rifle in some cases. So in terms of like overall effectiveness, I do think it is the best buckshot gun in the game, especially for like this micro crouch, just ADSing. So you get pretty tight groups, pretty far ranges that can typically one-shot. Like, you can usually one-shot things that are around this range, which is like most of your close quarters encounters. The only thing that's really bad about it is the reload, but the reload isn't terrible because it reloads 2 at a time, so it's somewhere in between Saiga and SPSA reload in terms of overall reload speed. But I do think it's one of the best guns in the game. It has a little bit more durability than the Saiga. It still can fire fast. Oh, hold on, sometimes it like doesn't let you. There we go. And it does kick to the right, and it goes up. So to compensate, you have to drag down to the left. So you can kill... Now, this is hard to do, but if you're using the Texan unique, it has a higher base damage of 180 instead of 150. And with 2 buckshot headshots, you can kill a bloodsucker immediately as soon as it appears. So you still can fight like burrs effectively, bloodsuckers, most of the mutants like controllers. It still does have high damage output. The Saiga does have more damage output, faster because it fires faster, and a better reload, but it does have less durability. And most encounters, this thing is more than good enough. And I do like its tighter spread, and we will show the difference between the two in the head-to-head video. But like this spread is like insane. Like that group at that range, it's almost like a single projectile. You can also ADS to achieve that. So you can kind of play, you know, like aiming. Just go for headshots. Alright, so that's it for this one. Definitely like and subscribe if you found this useful, and I'll see you in the future.